I'm leaving you, Mary. I want a divorce. Marcus's words hung in the air of the fancy restaurant where we'd gathered to celebrate our daughter Emma's college graduation. The champagne glass in his hand still raised, his announcement replacing the toast he was supposed to give. 50 pairs of eyes turned to look at Marcus and me, waiting for my reaction, for the tears, the yelling, the big exit everyone expected. Instead, I smiled. I reached into my purse and pulled out a thick, cream-colored envelope. With steady hands, I slid it across the white tablecloth toward him. "Congratulations on your honesty, Marcus," I said, keeping my voice calm. "This is for you." His confident smile faded as he picked up the envelope. Emma sat beside me, her graduation cap still on her head, her face frozen in shock. From the corner of my eye, I could see his mother, Patricia, sitting at the main table, her smile too knowing, too pleased. Marcus opened the envelope, and all the color left his face. "What the hell is this?" he whispered. "My name is Mary Thompson. I'm 48 years old, and until this moment, I had been playing the role of perfect wife and mother. I'd spent 22 years married to a man who took everything I gave and gave back nothing but empty promises. I was an architect once, fresh out of college with dreams of designing buildings that would change city skylines. Then I met Marcus at a friend's wedding. He was charming, ambitious, working his way up in business consulting. His mother, Patricia, loved me at first, calling me the smart one and perfect for my Marcus. We married quickly. I got pregnant with Emma 6 months later. Patricia insisted I stay home. "Family comes first," she'd said, moving into our guest house right after Emma was born. That temporary living situation became 5 years, then 10, then forever. I cooked, cleaned, ran the household while Marcus traveled for work. His career took off. Mine disappeared. Looking back now, I could see how carefully they'd torn down my independence, piece by piece, year by year. 3 months before Emma's graduation, I found a receipt in Marcus's jacket pocket. Hotel room in Miami, expensive room service, champagne. The date matched a weekend he told me he was at a work conference in Chicago. My hands shook as I held that small piece of paper, but I didn't confront him. Something inside me had finally broken open, but instead of falling apart, it made me sharper. I needed to know everything before I made a single move. The next morning, I hired a private detective named Grace Wellington. She was in her 50s, direct and no nonsense. "Give me 2 weeks," she'd said during our first meeting at a coffee shop across town. "I'll find out everything you need to know." I paid her fee with money from an old savings account Marcus didn't know about, one I'd opened years ago with inheritance money from my father. Grace called me exactly 14 days later. "We need to meet. Bring a notebook." Her office was small but professional, walls covered with certificates and awards. She laid out a folder on her desk, thick with printed papers and photos. My stomach twisted as I saw the first picture, Marcus with a young woman, blonde hair, laughing outside a restaurant I didn't recognize. Her name is Amber Collins, 29 years old. She works as a marketing assistant at the same consulting company as your husband. Grace pulled out more photos. Marcus and Amber holding hands, kissing in a parking garage, walking into an apartment building together. "They've been together for about 18 months now," Grace continued, her voice gentle but factual. "He's been spending a lot of money on her. Jewelry, dinners, weekend trips. I've written down everything." She pushed a stack of credit card bills toward me. Each one felt like a knife sliding between my ribs. But Grace wasn't finished. She opened another section of the folder, this one with bank statements and legal papers. "There's something else you need to know. Your husband has been moving money that belongs to both of you." My breath caught. "What do you mean?" "He's moved about $200,000 into offshore bank accounts over the past 2 years, small amounts at a time, carefully hidden in business expenses and investment transfers." Grace pointed to highlighted sections on the statements. "He's been planning this exit for a long time, Mary." The room spun slightly. 22 years of marriage, and he'd been slowly stealing from us, from me, to pay for his escape. "There's more," Grace said quietly. "The apartment where he meets Amber, it's in the same town as your daughter's college." The truth hit me like cold water. All those weekend visits to see Emma, all those father-daughter dinners he'd bragged about to his friends, and he'd been spending nights with his girlfriend 3 blocks from our daughter's dorm. Grace had found more than just the affair. She'd discovered Patricia's role too. Bank records showed regular money transfers from Patricia's account to Marcus, labeled as loans but never paid back. Text messages between mother and son talked about their plans. Mom knows you're unhappy. She deserves someone who appreciates her, not you. Amber will fit the family better. The messages made my skin crawl. Patricia had been actively helping Marcus plan his exit, paying for his affair, turning him against me while smiling to my face across the dinner table every single night. I thought about all those times Patricia had criticized me in small ways. Mary's gotten so tired looking. You work too hard on the house and not enough on yourself. Marcus needs a partner who challenges him more. She'd been laying the groundwork, making him feel justified in leaving. I drove home that day feeling like I'd been living with strangers wearing the faces of people I loved. I didn't confront Marcus. Instead, I started looking through our home office late at night while he slept. In a locked filing cabinet I'd never paid attention to, I found papers that made my blood run cold. Mortgage papers for our home, papers I'd never seen before. Marcus had taken out a new mortgage on our home 6 months ago, pulling out $300,000. My signature was on the papers, but I'd never signed them. He'd faked my signature. I took photos of everything with shaking hands, then carefully put each paper back exactly as I'd found it. The next morning, I called my father's old lawyer, Howard Banks. He was 70 now, semi-retired, but he'd handled my inheritance when Dad passed away 10 years ago. "Howard, I need to ask you something about the house." My voice was steady, despite the panic in my chest. "When my father left it to me, what exactly did the deed say?" There was a pause. "Mary, that house is in your name alone. Your father was very specific about that." Howard explained it carefully. "Your father wanted to make sure you always had security. The original deed from when he gifted you the house lists only your name. If Marcus took out a new mortgage on it, he would have needed your signature, your physical presence, and your ID." "What if someone faked my signature?" I asked quietly. Another pause, longer this time. "Then that's mortgage fraud, Mary. That's a serious crime." I thanked him and hung up, sitting in my car in the grocery store parking lot where I'd driven to make the call in private. Marcus hadn't just betrayed me emotionally, he'd committed a crime, stolen from me, put my home at risk. The home my father had worked his entire life to give me. I felt something shift inside me then, not just hurt anymore, but cold, focused anger. I drove to a law office downtown, one I'd researched carefully. The lawyer's name was Diana Fletcher, and she specialized in complicated divorces with money problems. Diana's office overlooked the city center, all glass and polished wood. She was in her 40s, sharp-eyed and direct. I laid out everything for her: the affair, the hidden accounts, the faked mortgage papers, Patricia's involvement, the offshore money transfers. She took notes quickly, her expression growing more intense with each detail. "Mary, your husband has made several very serious mistakes," she said when I finished. "The mortgage fraud alone is a criminal matter. The asset hiding breaks disclosure rules in divorce cases, and if his mother has been actively helping him hide money that belongs to both of you, she could be liable as well." She leaned forward. "How do you want to handle this?" I'd been thinking about that question for weeks. I want to let him make his announcement. I want him to think he's in control, that he's planned everything perfectly, and then I want him to understand exactly how wrong he was. Diana smiled, the kind of smile that made me understand why she had a 98% success rate. "I think we can arrange that." We planned everything carefully. Diana filed divorce papers the morning of Emma's graduation, but they were timed to hit the court system after the dinner. We prepared the envelope for Marcus, filled with evidence he couldn't deny. Screenshots of every text message between him and Patricia, photos of him and Amber, copies of the faked mortgage papers with an analysis showing my signature wasn't mine. And one more thing, a paper Marcus had signed last year while drunk at a family party. He thought it was a business contract I needed him to witness. Instead, it was a quit claim deed, transferring any potential interest he might have claimed fully to my name. I'd had it notarized and filed quietly. The house was mine, legally and completely. Marcus had been living in my home under my roof while planning to leave me. Emma called me the week before graduation. Her voice was tight, strange. "Mom, something happened. Can you come to campus?" I drove up immediately, my heart racing. She met me at a coffee shop off campus, looking pale and shaken. I saw Dad with a woman. Emma's hands shook around her coffee cup. I went to that Italian place near campus, the one Dad always says is too expensive for student budgets. He was there with her. They were holding hands, Mom, laughing. He kissed her right there at the table. Tears streamed down her face. I confronted him in the parking lot. He looked so shocked to see me. And then you know what he said? It was complicated, that I wouldn't understand adult relationships, that you and he had grown apart. I held my daughter while she cried, feeling my own rage burn hotter. He asked me not to tell you, Emma said between sobs, said he'd explain everything after graduation, that he had a plan. I took a deep breath. Emma, there's something I need to tell you. I explained everything, the investigation, the fraud, the plan for the graduation dinner. I watched my daughter's face shift from shock to heartbreak to something harder. He was going to do it at my graduation dinner, she whispered. Make it about him? Ruin